And welcome into the Paul Farrington Show, our divisional round preview show. Paul joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia and Zach Bloomquist, the best executive producer in the game. Jack is not with us today, a little under the weather, so he's resting up. We know it's a big weekend coming up. We're going to have a live on Saturday, I believe around 1 o'clock. Is that the plan, EP, Zach?
Yeah,
1 o'clock?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. And we need to make sure Jack's healthy for that because he's jacked up for this weekend's games. We have a fun show today. We're going to break down each game, each of the four, and then at the end, we'll rank the 8 quarterbacks left in the NFL playoffs. I've been debating this all day, Ziggy, and I think I finally came down firm on my list, so we'll see how we stack up against each other. Just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's liked and subscribed lately. We had probably the biggest day in the history of our show on Tuesday when we had about 1,000 new people subscribe. It kind of came out of nowhere. We were not expecting a big day like that at all. And we're just watching the subscriber count grow throughout the day was really cool. We were all pumped up about it in the chat. We appreciate all the love. And if you are enjoying this, yes, please click the subscribe button. It means a lot as we're trying to get to 10,000. I think it's a bit of a lofty goal, but could be achievable. I mean, if we have anything similar to Tuesday.
If you bought any t-shirts, please either tweet at us, tag us on Instagram of you wearing the shirt.
I hope they fit. I really hope they fit. They fit
We'll
fit us, the ones that we
Instagram
got.
and Twitter.
So
Yeah, well, hey, if folks show up wearing those shirts, we'll repost it. We'll give you a little shout out. We're always happy to see people. I mean, I'm never happy to see someone I love Jordan Love shirt. We're always happy to see fans wearing the Paul Farrington Show merch.
yeah, we'd love to see it. My producer that I work with, he's a huge Packer fan. Sent him the shirt today. He said, "Very nice fit. Feels good for maybe a pajama shirt." So he's wearing it on the Richard Sherman podcast today. So he's producing that show. He's gonna see if he could get any comments out of Richard.
Can he get Richard Sherman wearing the shirt?
Yeah, that would be nice, right? So the I Love Love shirt, yeah, we'll talk about that more during the
send one
Packer.
to Des Bryant.
Des Bryant, oh
he's
God,
he's the one that said that Jordan Love would be elite on Tennessee.
yeah. I don't know if Des. We'll send it. If anyone knows Des Bryant's mailing address, we'll send him a shirt on the show. So Ziggy, we have a lot of really fun matchups this weekend, and 3 out of the 4 of them are actually rematches from earlier this year. And the first one, Texans-Ravens, that was a week 1 showdown that Baltimore won 25-9. It was funny looking back on it now. No one knew at the time that Baltimore would turn into the juggernaut that they did this year, or that CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans would catch fire and pulled Houston of all teams this year into a playoff spot, let alone the divisional round. But here we are now in this rematch, and in the Texans' 7 trips into Baltimore in their team history, they are 0-7 there. In those last 4 trips, they've lost by an average of 19.5 points per game, including the 2019 playoff loss, 41-7, just thumped. So this is a place of horrors for Texans fans especially of late, but really throughout their existence. What I want to throw to you first is, we know CJ Stroud is amazing. We talk about it all the time on the show. Big Texans following, or nice Texans following. But this Baltimore defense, on the other hand, is loaded up and down. Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, both first-team All-Pros. They've been top 5 in everything this year, it seems. What's your confidence level in Stroud being able to go on the road and perform against arguably the best defense in football?
I think CJ Stroud is a very good player. I want to get that out of the way. He's a rising star. He's one of the best young quarterbacks and one of the best quarterbacks, period, in the National Football League. Mike McDonald, unfortunately, is probably the best defensive coordinator in the National Football League. And you can see of how the Ravens defense has performed all year. 4th in sack rate, 2nd in EPA per play against the pass for 2nd EPA per play overall. Best in yards after catch per reception in the entire league. And arguably, if you look at the numbers, they have the most diverse personnel group in the entire league. So what this Ravens defense does, and what makes them so hard for even experienced quarterbacks to play against, is there's so many moving parts and moving pieces on this defense. You've got an elite secondary. You've got an elite front 7. You've got Kyle Hamilton, who's everywhere, always, all at once on the field. And the problem, if you're a young quarterback or any quarterback going against this, is it's so hard to figure out what the coverage is supposed to be for the Ravens defense. They'll give you one look, then rotate to another, then rotate to another. Then once the ball snapped, it turns out they're in something totally different after all. So while I think CJ Stroud is good and he'll put up some decent numbers, he needs an elite performance, and I'm not sure that's coming.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's so scary about Baltimore is, you mentioned Kyle Hamilton, and Kyle, he's part of the reason you could be so versatile is because you have guys like him who are sort of unicorns at the position. And Roquan, of course, I looked at his first game against Houston this year, 16 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and the game-ending interception in that one. I think he had one. That's just 16 tackles is just ridiculous. But looking back on this, you mentioned the coordinators with McDonald and Todd Monken here. Baltimore's coaching staff is one of the best in the National Football League. They're going to come prepared to every game. But this Ravens defense that we're talking about right now, they're one of the few defenses in football that feels like a weapon. How many defenses are weaponized? Maybe Cleveland this year in Cleveland that can just create plays and then the offense feeds off of that energy. That's part of Baltimore's trick this season is that they can just shut you down. And on the other side, they got the MVP of the league. And we all know Lamar's playoff woes. It has not been good when Baltimore's been in the playoffs with him. It's simple as that. So a chance to exercise some of his demons in this first round matchup. Are you worried at all? If there was one chink in the Ravens' armor on offense, it could be for Houston to try and exploit. Could be generating some pressure. We know the Houston front line is really good with led by Will Anderson. Is there any concern about the Baltimore offense? Let's just be real here, choking like they've done in previous playoff seasons.
I understand why people are a little bit concerned, but you have to keep in mind that the Ravens this year are a totally different team than the Ravens we've looked at in the past with Greg Roman, right? Lamar Jackson, he made his name in the league as not just a scrambler, but a quarterback that runs a whole bunch. This year, he only has 4 runs over 20 yards. Now, you might think that's because Lamar Jackson's less effective with his legs, but that's not the case. It's because they've used Lamar and his vastly improved group of pass catchers to use his legs not to run for yards, but to avoid sacks and complete deep passes. Now, that's bad news for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Why? Well, the Texans have an excellent run defense. By the numbers, it's one of the best run defenses in the league. The pass defense, on the other hand, is not very good. They give up more deep passes than almost any other secondary in the NFL. And I think you're going to see it this week. People are going to go into this game expecting Lamar Jackson to run a lot and saying, well, as long as we make Lamar Jackson pass, we're not going to have any problems. He's no good. Now, I think that is what you have to do against the Ravens. They are better when they have an effective run game like any other team.
Yeah.
But I fully expect Lamar to complete a lot of big time passes this game, and the Texans are just not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, no matter how much pressure you can get on Lamar, too. The Ravens have given up 41 sacks this year. It's middle of the pack in the NFL, so a good offensive line, but just not stellar in that regard. But, it's Lamar Jackson, too. He's able to make magic out of these situations. So the only way you really are going to impact there, and we know Houston can get to the quarterback, but sometimes struggles to bring him down. You're going to have to finish him off. That basically is what's going to happen. I expect Baltimore to try and establish the running game early like they always do. They're most run-heavy team in the NFL this season. It's a pretty good amount, if I'm remembering correctly last time I saw. So if that Houston, that's the first step for Houston. Try and shut down the run because Baltimore will run it down your throat if you don't. And then you have a whole nother problem in slowing down Lamar's arm, which is, this is the best I've ever seen him throw the football. And maybe you're right. It could be that collection of receivers there. Zay Flowers, how much fun is he to watch? I wish Jack were here right now. Jack was super high on Flowers coming out of BC. And this year, adds a completely different dimension to the Ravens offense. It feels like, sort of like Green Bay, Houston just needs to have everything kind of go right in this game. But you can't rule them out because they have a young quarterback who's playing on top of the world.
I love that you point out Zay Flowers. Among all receivers in the entire NFL this year, he was second in average separation when targeted.
No,
he gets open like almost nobody else in the entire NFL. And there's some hope now. Mark Andrews had a full practice today. there's some hope that he's going to be back and ready to play.
Could you imagine?
And Isaiah Likely's already a very good tight end. You don't hear a lot about him if you're not paying attention to Baltimore, but he's quietly a top 10 tight end in the league. You put him, you put Mark Andrews back in this passing attack, and it's actually one of the better weapons groups left in the playoffs. It's about as good as the Texans, frankly.
Oh, I think you take it over the Texans, even though Nico Collins has been great. It's been a lot of fun watching him over the past few weeks, but with Mark Andrews, you take Andrews over Schultz, you take Flowers over Nico. It's a talented group that, Lamar hasn't had this many options in the past. He's always had Andrews there, but there's really a kind of a drop off after him. I wish Keaton Mitchell were playing too. I'm just thinking about that right now. He was one of the most electrifying dudes the entire season. But now to go back to Houston a little bit here. When we're talking about their chances of an upset, do you think on offense for them when they're attacking Baltimore, are you just looking at Stroud and saying, hey, go out there and make a play? Like, what would be your game plan to attack the Baltimore defense?
That's what it's going to have to be, I think. The fact is the Texans' run game is not very good. Like, Devin Singletary is a league average running back. Dameon Pierce is not even that. You're going to need CJ Stroud to work his magic, and that's how they've won games this season. Right? We've talked about how they thrive off deep passes. They're second in the NFL in average depth of target. Like, they love to throw the deep ball, and that's when they're successful. The only way you are going to be able to do that is if CJ Stroud can navigate the pocket, predict coverages, avoid sacks, and deliver the ball. That's going to have to be the formula for the Texans.
Yeah, you got to protect them up front. If that Ravens pass rush gets there and Stroud starts, and now look, he's great improvising, but if you put him under pressure all day, you got to try and keep a clean pocket for him, especially when you're dealing with one of the better secondaries too. That chess match between Stroud and Hamilton will be a lot of fun to watch in the secondary of Baltimore. And Ziggy, we were talking right before we started. You know, it's funny seeing Kyle Hamilton now. Congrats to Kyle as a first-team All-Pro. Hey, and by the way, you know, when he came out in the draft, I did say to everyone that this dude would be a top 5 safety within his first 2 years.
Not just because we were graduating the same year he did from Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was just, I used to produce Kyle's podcast Inside the Garage with the volume, so maybe a little biased there. But when Ziggy and I announced a couple of his games over at Notre Dame, and before the first game, well, Ziggy, why am I taking your?
Yeah, it's the very first game he's playing. No one's really heard of this guy, and there's some hype. I say Kyle Hamilton.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, our 5-star safety.
Look, there are a lot of 5-star safeties.
Talking about.
There are a lot of 5-star safeties. I said this guy's going to have a pick 6 in his very first game. Sure enough, Kyle Hamilton, pick 6. The game wasn't even close. He was just having fun out there.
It was an absurd prediction from you, but
you can't predict anyone's going to have a pick 6. But when you see him on the field, you just recognize, like, he is, if you built a safety in the lab for the modern NFL, he's got it all, right? He's physical. He's an excellent tackler. He's incredibly smart. He's quick. You can blitz him. You can put him in coverage. I mean, I remember watching the Vikings. He fell to us just at the right moment.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And then we trade down for Luisino. It was one of the worst days of my entire life.
Why are we still drafting a safe? So Baltimore fans, congratulations. And you know what? For Ravens, I know Ravens fans have been in the comment section before. Like, God, you guys hate Baltimore. Why do you hate the Ravens so much? No one did. You know, Jack dislikes him because he's a Steelers fan. But at no point this year have we really thought that the Ravens, you know, I think we've said they're the team to beat all year.
I hate the Ravens.
I know, we said they're the team to beat. Like, I think people are mad that we said, who we said was going to beat them? Miami, maybe?
Yeah.
We said Miami.
That was, like, this is the thing about this Miami. Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great team. This is a really good Baltimore team that, you know, we have a lot of Houston fans, and part of the show is we just try and be honest and upfront the entire time. I think it's a tough matchup for you guys. But the thing you have, and we likened it to Cinderella runs in the NCAA tournament, is you have a young quarterback who is playing out of his mind right now. And if he keeps that up, you could hang in there with anyone. It should be probably a Baltimore win, like 10 points. But would it surprise me at all if it's late in the game and CJ Stroud has a chance to win it and he gets the job done? No, that would not either. I think this is one of the more exciting ones of the weekend. And you know, right off the bat, we're getting a lot of star power. So that should be pretty entertaining to watch immediately. So real quick, game pick. I have Baltimore probably by 10, like I said. How about you?
I have Baltimore. I don't think they're going to cover. I think it'll be close to that 10, but I think CJ Stroud is going to lead a comeback and come pretty close towards the end of the game.
You guys are out of your mind. CJ Stroud's winning this.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. They lost 25-9.
Well, they've been your boys.
First week of the season.
D'Amico, they've been your boys this year.
D'Amico's my boy. I called it earlier this season.
And then a big one, Saturday night, the 49ers, 9.5-point favorites hosting the Green Bay Packers. Ziggy, everyone knows it. The Packers have their work cut out for them. People have been talking all week about the 49ers as if they're Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. And we're trying to figure out whether these guys are machine or man. And there are ways that Green Bay can attack this 49ers defense. I'm sorry, that Green Bay can attack this San Francisco offense to throw them off, because we all know the weapons. You look at the all-pro team and you just go, holy crap. It's half of it's 49ers players. They're just loaded everywhere. Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk. It's just a loaded roster. But there are some themes in the 49er losses this year. And I went back and looked at it today. In games where they have 125 yards or less on the ground, that's 2-5 record for San Francisco. At the Browns, 108 yards. At the Vikings, obviously, you guys know we shut them down, 65 yards. The Bengals, 113. Ravens, 121. This is an offense that averages 140.5 on the ground per game. That's third in the league. And we said before the show started, obviously, it's much easier said than done, slowing down McCaffrey, who's an MVP candidate this season. But that's where you have to start, because if you can't slow them down on the ground, they're going to tear you to pieces. And perhaps no one understands this better. It's a different team, but the Packers playoff game, what was it, 2020, I believe? I remember I was in Italy at the time, so I was studying abroad. I couldn't watch the game. But San Francisco ran for 280 yards in that game. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't throw the ball. If you can't slow them down there, they'll pick you apart.
Yeah, and it's just, you're right that that's what you have to do. Packers fans can't be happy hearing that. Because again, if there's been a complaint all season with the Joe Barry defense, it's been how much they've struggled against the run. And while the Packers defense has improved quite a bit over the past few weeks, they haven't faced a challenge quite like this. It's one thing to have a decent run defense performance against like Chuba Hubbard or whatever Tony Pollard is now, or like Khalil Herbert. But Christian McCaffrey, as you say, is clearly the best running back in the league. And it's very difficult to slow him down. You're going to have to hope that you can find a way to do this. The Packers do at least have some decent players on the edge. It's going to be that performance in the middle of the field to watch.
Yeah, and I'm also circling the one other thing that I found that's common in 49ers losses this year. It's a Brock Purdy interception. How often do we see Brock Purdy go out there and he is just perfect for this 49ers offense? So you're not asking him to do a whole lot, but it does take a lot of skill to be perfect in the NFL, which he is most of the time. But when he throws an interception, they're 2-4 this year. Look at the Vikings, Bengals, and Ravens game. He had 2 or more in those. You can get under the skin of Brock Purdy. He's not an unflappable quarterback. And you could go watch the Ravens game. If you can get pressure on him, 3 of the 4 interceptions are tipped at the line of scrimmage. You have to get to him. So there's a challenge there for Rashawn Gary. There's a challenge there for Preston Smith and Kenny Clark to make some noise. If you can get in his face, bat some balls up in the air, that's how you're going to win this game. Green Bay, we're honest on this podcast. That's the one thing that we always try and be. Green Bay is not, they don't match up with the 49ers particularly well.
Not like they did against the Cowboys.
Not like the Cowboys. So for them to have a shot in this, some people are going to have to lose their mind up front, and they're just going to need to dominate the trenches. I think they can do it. I think they can get pressure and make some plays. This 49ers offense isn't unstoppable. But would you agree with that pressuring Purdy is the main objective of the Packer defense after stopping the run?
That is. You need a lot of things to go right. Sort of like you needed a lot of things to go right in the Cowboys game, but they did. You need to slow down Christian McCaffrey. You don't have to completely stop him, but you need to make it such that the 49ers have to drop back sometimes. No more Jimmy Garoppolo 3 pass attempts for the game. Once you do that, that was outrageous.
Well, that was an anomaly. It felt like that game was just ridiculous.
But once you do that, you have to get pressure. And the good news for the Packers here is that defensive performance in the NFL is not steady at all. And we've seen it even just watching the Packers this season. Every week they're up, every week they're down. You never know what it's going to be. But they do have talent. And as long as you've got talent, you can hope to catch the variance bug and play pretty well. And given how hot they've been, you can't rule that possibility out.
Oh, the pass rush has been red hot. 4 sacks against Dak last week. I think they were second in QB hits or hurries. They're ranking very highly in the metrics over the past 3 weeks in terms of getting to the quarterback, which was not the case earlier in the season. So, you have your work cut out for you against this 49ers offense for sure. But you're just going to need some guys to step up. At the end of the day, we do expect a lot of points from San Francisco. But the good news for the Packers is that Jordan Love is arguably the hottest quarterback in the NFL. And, this could turn into a shootout. The conditions are supposed to be rainy. When you look at Jordan Love versus the 49er defense, are you confident that his hot streak is going to continue against a much improved secondary from earlier in the year?
I think Jordan Love's going to have a good game. The problem is that Jordan Love doesn't need to have a good game. He needs to have a perfect game. The kind of game that he was having against the Cowboys. If this were earlier in the season, I'd actually feel pretty good. In particular, because the 49ers had struggled for a pretty long time at nickel and slot corner. Unfortunately, and you can talk to any 49ers fans, they'll tell you this. Right around week 10, there was a big shift. Instead of playing Ambry Thomas at nickel, or instead of playing Ambry Thomas at slot corner, they put him at nickel. Instead of playing Diamador Lenore at nickel, they put him at slot. And since then, it has been extremely difficult to throw against this defense. They had one big weakness right there at slot corner, which is something the Packers could absolutely exploit, right? We saw it last week. Their guys, shifty after the catch, very effective.
And so many weapons, yeah.
I just worry that given how well the 49ers secondary has been, the Bengals and the Vikings' success against the 49ers is not going to be replicable.
Yeah, they're different teams. They're a different team than during that 3-game losing streak that they had earlier in the season. They've made the changes necessary to get better there, and along the line too. Yeah, they add in Chase Young, and now all across there, it looks like Arik Armstead from what I've seen is trending towards playing. But with Armstead, Hargraves, Young, Bosa, and that you got your work cut out for you. Luckily for Green Bay fans, their offensive line has been playing really good football lately. Most of the year, but lately they've been really good. You talked about Zach Tom on the previous show. I'm looking for the Packers. If I were a Packer fan, I would be looking to establish Aaron Jones. And another thing, easier said than done, but 49ers have the 3rd best rushing defense in football. Aaron Jones, on the other hand, has gone for over 100 yards in 4 straight games. He's dominated on the ground. And he's fairly fresh, too, from missing a fair bunch of the season.
Well, it's going to be important for the Packers to not fall behind the 49ers much, because while you say they're the 4th best in the league, and they are by yards per game, the reason for this is because teams throw against the 49ers more than any other team. The rush defense per play has actually been really poor, right? They're only 25th in the league in EPA per play against the run. So the fact is they do have a vulnerability here. They've got excellent pass rushers, and if they get ahead big early, you have no choice but to throw. But there's a decent chance that Aaron Jones has a good game here, as long as the Packers can keep it together.
I think he'll have a good game. The way he's been playing is out of this world. If someone commented they love the 33 talk. Aaron Jones is one of the more underrated players in football. I've said time and time again on this podcast. And if you're able to get stuff going on the ground there, that's when all of a sudden Jordan Love can start attacking, more downfield. We've seen him hit on every throw in the game over the past few weeks.
Yeah.
And that's where you have those 4 weapons on the outside and Musgrave. That's when it could be really fun. And I think that you're going to see, if the Packers win this playoff game, dude, I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, because this is the test right here. This is the cream of the crop in the NFC. Everybody knows it. A lot of people are expecting a big 49ers win. If Green Bay wins this one, the mentality around that team, they're gonna be on top of the world, and going into they'll be, oh, Detroit, okay, yeah, sure, we can take on Detroit. We own those guys. This is the big test to me. If they win this one, I don't think they will. We'll do our game prediction here. You have to take San Francisco, unless you're a Packer fan. You're gonna take the 49ers, but I think it'll be a good game. I do not expect Green Bay to get run out of the building like a lot of people do. They're just playing good football. They're playing really good football. So I have San Francisco probably by a touchdown.
There are a lot of game scripts that can go poorly for the Packers, and we'll talk more in a video that's coming out later this week on exactly what game script the Packers need to win the game, their keys. But I think there are enough scripts where things go well that the Packers can keep it competitive. Are they going to win? I just don't think so. I said last week, I'm high on this Packers team. I thought they matched up very well against the Cowboys. I thought for sure they were going to win.
Oh, they did.
Turns out they did. I just think this is going to be different. As good as this Packers team has been, playing a 49ers team, first or second best team in the NFL, with rest, with Kyle Shanahan, who has consistently had LaFleur's number in the game planning and coaching, even Packers fans, I think, are going to have a tough time taking their team winning this week.
And a lot of Packers fans, too, from everything we've seen, they have been very reasonable with this, approaching this game, saying, we're just excited. That's the fun part for them right now, is they're just excited to be here. So there's not a lot of pressure on this Green Bay team to come in. No one expects them to win. No one expects them to win except the people in that building. And that's really all that matters, is when Jordan Love thinks he can win, that adds, like, that's the most important guy in the building that you want to believe. And they think that right now. But if they lose this game, you go back and it's an unbelievably successful season. It doesn't matter, but they have a chance. They have a chance in this one. All right, we will move on now to Bucs-Lions. 3:00 on Sunday. Detroit, a 6.5-point favorite at home. Already a little bit of trash talk going back and forth between Baker Mayfield and CJ Gardner-Johnson, the Lions secondary there. Did you see that, Ziggy? Did you see the quotes that were coming out of Detroit?
What were folks saying?
It was great. When asked about preparing for the Rams, Gardner-Johnson said, "This group probably is one of the better groups we've faced all year. Besides that Tampa group, if you give that Tampa group a good quarterback, that's a great group. Evans, Godwin, Gage, that's a great group. I played against them for real." So already throwing shade at Baker, who actually I thought won the exchange when he came back and said, "I don't think he's really watched film because he mentioned Russell Gage. We love Russell, but Russell hasn't played a snap for us all year. Gage has been out. He tore his patellar tendon in training camp practices." So, exposing CJ Gardner-Johnson a little bit there, but it should be fun. These two teams also met earlier in the season when Detroit went into Tampa Bay and just bullied them. I mean, that game wasn't even close. It was 20-6. Goff was great. They didn't even have much of their rushing attack because Gibbs was still out and Montgomery got hurt in that one. And it was just a great performance from the Detroit Lions all around. That was one of those games where you looked at Detroit and started to realize they were separating themselves from other teams in the NFC. Are you expecting a similar bully ball style big Detroit win?
I think Detroit's going to go for the bully ball. Absolutely. But I don't think that matches up very well against what this Buccaneers team wants to do. Right? The Lions, we know what their identity is. They play tough. Jared Goff hands the ball off, sets up play action. You've got a big offensive line, a big defensive line. You just try and impose your will. But here's the thing about this Bucs team. Baker Mayfield has improved dramatically at avoiding taking sacks. And when he's healthy and ready to play, the Buccaneers love throwing the deep ball, right? They throw the ball deeper than almost any other team in the league. They've got guys who can produce after the catch, like you say. And the Lions defense, what has their big vulnerability been this year? People throwing deep against them. They're 30th in average depth of target against. They're really bad at defending deep plays to the left and right side of the field, plays in the deep middle. So this Lions defense has really struggled to consistently get pressure outside of Aiden Hutchinson, which has contributed to a lot of these problems. So if the Lions are trying to play bully ball, run the ball a bunch, and the Buccaneers are just throwing 60-yard bombs downfield, it's going to be tough for them to keep up.
I think this has been a tremendous show for Ziggy today. I'm learning a lot. We study over these games here, but on the show live right now, I am just learning a lot of stuff about these teams, which has just been great.
That's what's been so fun to watch of Baker Mayfield, right? As last year, Mike Evans was getting misused. All they had him doing was running go routes.
Yep.
People forget because of his size and speed, he's one of the best route runners in the league. The Buccaneers have used him on all sorts of different routes. Chris Godwin, obviously an excellent player. Rashad White, the second best receiving back in the league.
Yeah,
seriously, he's only behind Christian McCaffrey. There's a lot of explosive action out of this Buccaneers offense. And if the Lions overlook that, or if they have the same problems with their secondary they've had all season, if players like if Brian Branch isn't able to step up and generate big plays, it could be a long day for the Lions.
Think about the Tampa Bay side of things too. How much of a sigh of relief was it from the Tampa Bucks Nation when they were watching that Eagles game after scoring 11 points in 2 straight games, the offense non-existent to close the season. They come out last week, hang 32 on Philly. Philadelphia secondary has had a lot of struggles this year as well. You're going into Detroit right now thinking, okay, the offense is back. Like, Baker looked great. People were wide open. That's the most encouraging sign to me from a Bucs standpoint is the offense finally woke up and just at the right time too. So now you're going into Detroit against that high-powered offense. The Bucs struggle, 29th in the league against the pass, but they've been better recently. Haven't allowed a 300-yard passer in 5 weeks. Things are coming together at the right time for this Tampa Bay team. And I think a lot of Detroit fans, and we said it even on our show a week ago, we thought we were just saying the Lions should roll them. But when you step back and look, this is not the same Tampa team from earlier in the season. They've won 6 of their last 7. They're just playing good football as well. I still have Detroit winning this game, but I have Detroit winning by close with 3 or 4. I don't know if they're going to cover this spread.
The question, I think, in how this game goes is going to be about 2 things. First, as you say, it's about whether Detroit can establish the run. Mm-hmm. But if they can't, assuming that the Buccaneers are able to defend it, because let's be honest, establishing the run against Vita Vea, extremely difficult. He's the only player in the entire NFL this year to stop the tush push. You saw him do it against the Eagles multiple times. You cannot run at this, man. It's not possible. If that happens, it's going to come down to the Lions players' ability to generate yards after the catch. Sam Laporta's not 100%, but he looks pretty good. Obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, a lot of players who can do some effective running on short passes. That's what the Lions will need to take pressure off Jared Goff and get things going.
There's a world here, too. I don't expect Tampa to blow out anyone or to blow out Detroit, but there's a world where Detroit can crush Tampa Bay again. I think you're either going to see a great game or a blowout Lions win. But with the way Tampa's playing right now, it'd be foolish to just ignore them. Did you see the tickets, by the way? The ticket prices?
Dude, Lions fans are so excited.
It's the average ticket price on the secondary market is $1,186. That's like this show's entire income ever. That's unbelievable for a playoff ticket. It's the second most expensive ticket for a divisional matchup was 49ers in Dallas last year at $605 on the secondary market. So you can see these Lions fans, that place, Ford Field, is going to be rocking again. It's unbelievable. It's like a Taylor Swift concert right now, these tickets. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Lions fans have established Ford Field as one of the most difficult places to play. That is why I am taking the Lions to win this game too. I think they're going to win actually by a lot. I think that their short and intermediate passing game is going to get it done against a Buccaneers secondary that's been pretty suspect all year. Again, they only have one strength. They can block the run in the middle of the field. This could get ugly very fast.
So I think it probably Detroit in the points?
I'm taking Detroit by the points and then some. I might be thinking alt spread. Yeah, as much as I love Baker Mayfield, the fact is he's the only thing. Like, Baker Mayfield in the deep passing game is the only thing going for the Bucs. The Lions are going to be able to handle that.
Yeah, as I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think it'll be a blowout, but the 7-10 Detroit win is probably a better bet than a 3-point Lions win. Yeah, I'm confident Detroit will win this game, but wow, sheesh, man.
Yeah,
ticket prices.
Here's the thing that's just true is you look at the divisional round and it looks like there is only one game that's going to be good. The markets are predicting 3 blowouts. Here's something you can be extremely confident in. That will not happen.
Oh, definitely.
One team is going to either have an upset or at least a very, very close game. And this is, as we said, we just laid it out. This is one of the games you can keep your eye on where something like that might happen.
You think there's a better atmosphere in the playoffs right now than Ford Field? Buffalo, maybe?
Yeah, Buffalo, I think, has to be number one. I'm excited to see what people are able to do in Baltimore this weekend. That's historically been a very
they're all
difficult
great. They're all
place
great
to play.
home field. So the 49ers fans, the way they've traveled this year is unbelievable. Like, they're going to be going crazy as well.
Yeah, that's the 49ers and Packers. That's a strength versus strength fan traveling matchup.
Yeah. I mean, they always travel well, the 49ers, but this year, like, we've seen it in person a few times. Zach has, I know. It's crazy, right? They're just selling out hotels.
I was expecting to go to a Steelers game full of Steelers fans. I went to a Steelers game full of 49ers fans.
Let's go to this last game here now. Chiefs and Bills. That's the headliner right here. Sunday, 6:30.
Nah, not for this channel.
Not for this channel, no. But in terms of what people are looking forward to watching here, Mahomes, Allen, Bills are 2.5-point favorite. It's the 7th meeting for these teams since the 2020 season.
And
Bills have won 3.
This time, Paul.
What'd you say?
Why is it so important this time?
Well, it's a playoff game here.
I know, but why
it's
is
in
this
Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. This is the first time. Is this the first one in Buffalo?
So Mahomes did play. Yeah, it is. And I was thinking Mahomes has played in Buffalo once, but there weren't any fans there, right? This was during the COVID year. So he is going to experience something very, very different.
Yeah, you got to think Josh Allen is sitting back going, thank God, finally, we got it done. Another rematch from earlier in the season, and that actually determined the home field advantage. They're both 11-6. Buffalo had the tiebreaker from that Kadarius Toney Travis Kelce game when Toney was off sides. Crazy to think how big of an impact that play had, not only on that game, but now on the season. Where if this game's in Kansas City, we might be thinking differently about who's winning this. The line would certainly be different. But Mahomes and Allen, that's the storyline. They're the only 2 quarterbacks with 24 touchdowns in their first 9 playoff games. Both of them, just explode in the playoffs. They're phenomenal postseason players. You just go back and think the one game that stands out, the 13 seconds game, where it's one of the best quarterback duels we've ever seen. These guys seem to be able to bring out a higher level of play in each of each other, probably because they know they have to. When you look at this matchup of the quarterbacks, Ziggy, and are those the guys that you're circling here? Because I have my eyes on someone else.
So it's tough not to focus on the quarterbacks, right? Because you've got arguably the 2 best players in the NFL going at it. But like you, actually, there's a different player that I'm watching. I'm curious if we have the same person in mind. Me too. For me, I think the difference maker this game is going to be Dalton Kincaid.
Kincaid was my number 2.
Yeah, so I'll say a little bit about why. When the Bills drafted Kincaid last year, they were hoping to be able to run 12 personnel more effectively, right? Their 2 tight end sets had been terrible. And the fact is, the Bills, they've got an incredible receiver in Stephon Diggs. They've got a decent explosive option in Gabe Davis. Khalil Shakir, consistently underrated. But you wanted one more guy out there. And this year, Dalton Kincaid has been that guy. Now, obviously, Dawson Knox is very good at getting touchdowns, and he's a good player. But Dalton Kincaid, in terms of generating separation, in terms of being an explosive tight end, there's a reason he was 13th in yards among tight ends in his rookie year. He's an incredible player.
He's a weapon.
And who do the Chiefs have to stop him? With L'Jarius Sneed, I think he's going to have an excellent game. I think he is going to shut down Stephon Diggs. But if that happens, you've got to ask what's going to happen to the other Bills receivers. So I'm keeping my eye on Kincaid.
Of course, we all, if you've been following this show for a while, you probably remember in the offseason, Jack saying, mostly tongue-in-cheek, but you never know with Jack. Like, he might have been serious when he said Dalton Kincaid was one of the 3 best college football players he's ever seen in his life. He's come in and been great for this Bills offense. I wasn't going Kincaid. I was actually going with someone else who you didn't mention during that. James Cook has been,
very quietly.
Yeah, very quietly. Well, he bursted out weeks. I'm trying to remember weeks 13 around that area. But he had the 179-yard game against Dallas. I remember the fantasy implications of that for some people were crazy. But since then, he's been a little quieter over the past few weeks. 70 yards, 48-36. Then he had 79 yards against the Steelers. But he's one of the more explosive running backs in the NFL. And just getting him the ball, he's a huge part of this Bills offense. And when he gets the ball in his hands, he's one of those guys who can take it to the house on any given play. I think that they're going to need a big game from him. This Chiefs defense has been phenomenal all year round. And there are certain games where the Bills players have disappeared. Their weapons. Like Diggs has not had a great season since the start of the year. So for Buffalo, I think it's kind of a combination that Kincaid, Cook. Will those guys step up? You have to think Diggs will in the playoffs, despite what he's been doing. But they're going to need someone else to prevent Josh Allen from having to be Superman. And you see that with the Bills offense. That sometimes happens where it's all on Josh Allen to make a play. He's good enough to do that, but that's not ideal.
Well, yeah, and if you're the Bills, you're watching very closely that Raiders-Chiefs game, right? Aiden O'Connell completely shut down. Zeus White, no problem whatsoever. Just put up like 160. I thought he was going to be so good when he hit the league. I remember changing my Dynasty League team name to Zeus after his nickname because I thought for sure he was going to be a star. That never obtained, but he was the key player in that. So the Chiefs defense definitely can be weak to the run.
That game, oh my goodness. Chiefs fans, that's the one, like the model to beat Kansas City. The Raiders, that was a dominant performance from them. That's the worst Kansas City's looked in 6 years, I think, in that game. It was tough to watch.
Well, yeah, because you're not beating them having Josh Allen drop back and wait for Chris Jones to get after him. Right? As good as Josh Allen is at avoiding stacks with Spags and the blitzes and how dominant Chris Jones is on the inside, you need a running game.
Well, we also need to pay attention on the flip side, the Bills defense versus the Chiefs offense. There's a lot of injuries in Buffalo right now. The Bills injury report compared to the Chiefs have no one really. But the Bills, I'm just looking right here. Benford, cornerback. Teron Johnson has a concussion right now. Terrell Bernard, the linebacker, is out, an ankle injury. He's questionable right now. Another Spectre, like they have up and down the list here. And Gabe Davis is questionable for the game too. He might not even play. He didn't play in the.
I thought he was out.
Is Gabe officially out?
Was he out? Yeah,
he was out for the Steelers game.
Oh no, maybe I'm thinking of the Steelers game.
Yeah, but still, we're just talking about all these guys here. There's 5 starters, I believe, on the Bills defense who may or may not play in this game. And I know that the Chiefs offense has had their struggles this season, but it's still Patrick Mahomes. It's still Travis Kelce. Isaiah Pacheco can turn it on as well. That's going to be something we need to watch as we get closer and closer to this game, is how healthy will Buffalo be? We know they'll be banged up, but will those guys be able to get out there? The impact with Bernard could be huge because that's someone that you're going to use against Kelce, who's been quiet. But again, maybe one of those I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was games from Travis Kelce when they need it against Josh Allen. So something to pay attention to.
And let's not forget, an offseason for Travis Kelce is 985 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It is only the second best or third best tight end season in the league, right? But I like that you mentioned Pacheco because he wasn't there for the last Bills-Chiefs game. And he is a critical player. I mean, you saw it against the Dolphins. Sorry to say that, Zach. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's an okay player, maybe. But Pacheco's a snowplow. And going into Buffalo, you need a snowplow type runner who can just take care of whatever's in front of him. He reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell, actually. He likes to wait for the window and then go for it.
But he runs angry. That dude.
Once he sees the gap and goes for it, he's going to bowl you over.
Jersey toughness right there from Rutgers. No, Isaiah Pacheco, because you look at him and he's not the biggest guy in the world. Helaire is more that lower to the ground kind of you'd imagine bulldozer. But then you see Pacheco run, and I mean, when he hits people, you could hear it. You can hear it popping off the screen. I think he's the third most important guy in that offense, skill position player wise, or at least when you have Mahomes, Kelce. He might even be more important than Kelce.
I'll tell you, I think the most important player for the Chiefs this game is going to be Rashee Rice.
That's who everyone's talking about this week.
I mean, just here's the fact, right? The Chiefs are number 1 in the NFL in sack percentage. But Josh Allen is number 1 in the NFL in pressure to sack percentage. He avoids sacks like nobody else. And you can see why. He's huge. He's strong. He can run. He can pass. But Josh Allen is very difficult to take down. So I think the Bills are going to get some explosive plays. There is nobody on this Chiefs offense left who can generate explosive plays to match except Rashee Rice.
If I'm a Chiefs fan too right now, I'm starting to feel that the Chiefs are turning it around. I know it's just one playoff game, but it's starting to feel to me like it might be one of those situations where they just needed to get to the playoffs. And once they're in, very favorable matchup against the Steelers, who were a tough opponent. That game could have gone to Pittsburgh if things broke differently in the first half. but you get over that hump of the first game. And you didn't draw a Houston who it looked like it could have been at one point. You don't get I'm sorry, who'd they get? I'm thinking of Buffalo. Kansas City played the Dolphins.
Yes.
But still, you had, unfortunately for Zach, a poor Tua game in that one. But you're able to get over that hump.
Anymore. Just put it out there.
You're able to get over that hump of the first game. And now those guys, we've said it before, they're winners. They know how to get the job done. And they've consistently beaten Buffalo in the playoffs. So a chance for revenge for some of those former playoff losses for the Bills, but also the Chiefs can kind of reestablish, like, okay, we're here. We are the defending champions. And it's a scary sight for whoever wins that Texans-Baltimore game. If you get the Chiefs off this win, it's, oh, shit, here's the king coming back for the crown. And if Buffalo wins, it's, okay, here's this team that just got over the hump and is playing red-hot football. The AFC playoffs the rest of the way are going to be great.
Yeah, this is why I like the 49ers to win the Super Bowl right now, just because their path is so much easier. Mm-hmm. But look, I mean, as you say, this is one of those. Here's the thing about the Chiefs that I really like is in the regular season, I think the Chiefs and the Dolphins exemplify this perfectly. Good teams cover up their weaknesses. Great teams work through their weaknesses. All season long, the Chiefs were doing whatever they could, giving lots of different options, trying to figure out their offense. And they might have cracked the code. The Bills did something similar too. They had some offensive struggles, but once things clicked, they've been very good for the most part. These are two teams I think that are starting to enter into their Super Saiyan form, and who knows what we get? It could be another instant classic.
It's nuts to think about this, but you just reminded me. Philadelphia, I talked about it on the reaction show against the Buccaneers. They had problems all year long, and they could never figure it out. Like this team at the beginning of the year. They were we're working through our problems, but they're finding ways to win. That's the way people talked about it. That, this Philly team is so talented. They're finding ways to win. And then all of a sudden, when they started losing those games, it was, there's some real problems on this team that might not get fixed. The Chiefs have worked through those problems. The Bills have worked through those problems. Philadelphia never did. So we're seeing some of the teams from last year, really good teams from last year. Two of them were able to overcome their difficulties. One of them gets bounced in the first round to a Tampa team that anyone earlier in the season would have picked Philadelphia to win that game. So just goes to show you that it's hard to win in the NFL. Don't take these moments for granted because you never know when you're going to get back to playing good football. And the Chiefs and Bills seem to be playing good football right now. We'll wrap up here with the rankings of the quarterbacks left in the playoffs. We'll be a little quicker for this just for the sake of producer Zach, who has an early morning as a
always have an early morning.
Worker, a cement guy.
Not cement.
Oh, concrete.
Concrete.
How do I consistently mess that up?
Yeah, it's not that hard, Paul.
Concrete.
So
we don't deal with that cement garbage.
So the 8 quarterbacks left in the playoffs here. I'm going to rank them for you first, Ziggy, and then we'll hear your list. And Zach, you could say who's you agree with more, unless we have the same list, which could be the case.
We do not.
I wish that Jack were here for this because
this would be Jordan Love.
He would have Jordan Love number one.
Stroud. No, I bet you he had Stroud first.
I bet he had Love. Well, we'll text him. So see if he responds during the segment here.
Oh, he's passed out.
Okay, ranking the quarterbacks left in the playoffs. For 8, I have Baker Mayfield. Looked awesome against Philly. Has had a good year. But of all the other guys on this list, I think Baker has the most likely ability to have a dud in one of these games.
All right, we've got a different list. This is good.
Okay. I have Baker, then I have Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff, and let's just get something clear. All these quarterbacks are very good quarterbacks. You get to the divisional round, you have a good season. But Jared Goff, when he's on, dude can sling it with anyone. A little more prone to when you get pressure on him to making mistakes. But overall, it's been great this year, just not on the level of these other guys. Brock Purdy, 6. Super talented. I think he gets often overlooked for the weapons he has around him, even though they are unbelievable weapons. It takes a lot of skill to be as good as Brock Purdy is and not make mistakes. When he performs poorly, that team loses. There's a lot of reliant on Brock Purdy performing. 5, I have Jordan Love, which I know a lot of the Packers fans are going to be mad about. He might be playing the best out of anyone in the league right now. Numbers wise, off the charts good. And we are seeing him rise up those power rankings in terms of the quarterback tiers. So I think there is a gap from Purdy to the next level with Love. But these other guys, I just like a little more. 4, I have CJ Stroud, who lighting the world on fire. It's just been dominating for its Texans offense, carrying them. 3, and this is where it got really tough for me today. I have Lamar Jackson at 3, Josh Allen at 2, and Patrick Mahomes at 1. And I didn't want to come into this and just automatically put Mahomes at 1, or here's Zach saying I'm a square. I didn't want to just automatically put Mahomes at 1 because he's Patrick Mahomes. But he's Patrick Mahomes. That's I said that exact line to my dad, and my dad said exactly that back. He went, but he is Mahomes, and he's just the best. I think those 3 guys separate from everyone else. And Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen, extremely close. I mean, Lamar's been amazing this season, but I'm viewing this as I need to win a game tomorrow. Josh Allen, when he is at his absolute best, is I think a little bit better than Lamar Jackson. And it's, that's part of the reason why we're most excited for Bills Chiefs. It might be the most exciting game of the playoffs because at the end of the day, people know that those are the number 1 and 2 guys in the league. It's super close, but that's my list. How about you?
Well, the Packers-Texans Super Bowl is going to be more exciting.
Oh, that will be the Paul Farrington Show Bowl.
That's a bit of a joke.
That's the PFS Bowl.
Yeah. As you said, all these quarterbacks are good.
Order?
You can do it. You want to
guess Ziggy's order?
Go for it, Zach. I'd like to hear you guess it.
I feel like Ziggy's got Goff last. I don't know why. Ziggy just looks like a Goff hater.
I'm not a Goff hater, but he clearly belongs at number 8.
Oh, okay. All right.
Look, Jared Goff. Look, it's not fair to Jared Goff to have him that low in a certain way. Like putting him at number 8, though dead last in the playoffs, suggests that he's bad. These are probably all top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL at this point. The way they've played. I think I'm higher on Baker than almost everyone else, but healthy Baker Mayfield, which is what we have right now, is very good. Jared Goff is just good. He's well above average. He's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's the best quarterback around. Mayfield.
There's no way you think Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a better game than Jared Goff.
That's why he has him at 7.
We're talking about power rankings. We're talking about how they are playing right now.
Sure. And the fact is, I'd have Matthew Stafford. There's so many guys that I would put above Baker.
But I think Stafford's not
Baker Mayfield has a bad reputation because of all the times that he's gotten injured and hasn't been good. He put his career on the line for the Browns and they treated him wrong. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch the tape at how Baker Mayfield has performed, he has been better this year than at almost everything than he ever has been in his career. Ball accuracy, avoiding sacks. Baker's at 7. I'm sticking there. Number 6, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, again, excellent player.
Yeah.
Zach and I are on the same page here. Excellent player, right? He's not a normal rookie. But the fact is, you have to talk about small things.
It's ridiculous.
Here. And even though CJ Stroud had a really excellent game, he made a couple mistakes. That interception, or should have been interception, that he threw into double coverage has stuck with me. CJ Stroud, again, one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. But all of these guys are some of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Number 5, Brock Purdy. People think Purdy's a game manager. He's more than that. Delivers the ball accurately. Gets the ball to his weapons on time. Avoid sacks. As long as he's not having one of his couple of bad games a year, his production is so high that I can't help but put him above some of the other names we've seen on this list.
Let me just cut you off for a second. Zach, have you nailed this list so far?
No, I'm going to say, I thought he was going to say Jordan Love. And then Brock. Honestly, I thought Brock Purdy was going to be in his top 3.
Okay.
No.
To be honest.
Well, there's one more quarterback to not make the top 3. His name's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
look, Lamar Jackson again has had a really people are going to light me up in the comments. This is how you know that I'm saying this is how you know I'm saying what I really believe. It'd be so easy to come out here and just give a chalk list. The fact is,
is that a shot at me?
I'm just saying Lamar Jackson has been great, but the perception does not match performance this year. Lamar Jackson has been very good. He's contributed to the Ravens' run game. Not as much as people think. You can look at the numbers on how to gauge quarterback contributions to rushing. He's contributed a lot, but not enough to justify the fact that among these guys in terms of passing production, Lamar Jackson's only a little bit above average. Now, he's a real weapon and he can turn it on in the playoffs, but we've seen over and over again throughout his career, Lamar Jackson is just a very good passer. He is not elite. Now, being a very good passer and an elite rusher gets you far, but it's not going to put you up there with the absolute best quarterbacks in the NFL.
2 MVPs.
Look, he deserved his first MVP. That was an incredible season. This year, he doesn't deserve it.
So right now left, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love's number 3.
Okay, the fact is, I was about to lose my mind.
No. I could not in good conscience put Jordan Love higher than 3. But the fact is, look at this second half of the season. When we're talking power rankings, we're talking how's he going to do next week. Whole season considered, he's lower than all of these guys, just about.
Yeah, we're talking about, though, we have a game tomorrow. Who do you want playing quarterback?
Jordan Love is so unbelievably hot. And it's the kind of hotness that is sustainable. Well, he's not going to age out of this hotness, I'll tell you that much. Jordan Love.
Pause.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
Here's what I'm saying with Jordan Love, right? You can just look at that Cowboys game. That Cowboys team has feasted on every quarterback they have played except the elite ones. Well, not only did they not feast on Jordan Love feasted on them. He played out of his mind. He's going to do it again against the 49ers. Again, what do I care about in quarterbacks? I care that they can deliver the ball. They can read defenses. They can avoid sacks. Don't make a lot of mistakes. That's Jordan Love. Number 2, Josh Allen.
Oh,
number
Ziggy's
1, Patrick Mahomes.
Ziggy's a square 2.
You're calling me a square after that list?
Oh, I mean, really? that list was CJ Stroud at 6.
I mean, look,
6?
I'll tell you that. Let's watch the games this weekend, right? People are going to come back to this video
Ziggy says, let's take it to the field. Let's take it to the field.
People are going to come back to this video one way or another. And I am either going to be seen as a prophet or a complete and total buffoon. And I'm okay taking that risk because I am confident in what I have seen.
Let us know in the comment section. You know what? I'm realizing right now that a lot of the people are watching are going to be Packers fans for this. So
they're going to
let us know in the comment section whose list you liked more between me and Ziggy. The Texans fans, I hope you guys show up because I think CJ Stroud is a superstar. I think he's
agree.
Almost on that Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Allen level.
I totally agree. He's almost on Lamar Jackson's level. I totally agree.
And that's actually something about Jordan Love that you said that we talked about all offseason. The accuracy, once he fixed that, that's when we're talking about someone who's one of the best quarterbacks in football over the past few months. It's like Anthony Richardson. Remember we talked about the concern I had with Richardson? I don't like when quarterbacks are inaccurate. A lot of people get caught up in the physical traits, but when you can't throw the ball, you can't throw the ball. And Richardson was good this year before he got hurt. But with Jordan Love, that was the case. For months, we saw some big accuracy issues. And now he's just putting it on a rope literally wherever he wants. And it's been unbelievably impressive to watch as he's gotten better over the past few weeks. So I get it. I can't argue with a 21-1 touchdown interception ratio. Over Lamar Jackson, though, I don't know about that. I'd like to hear what Packers fans have to say about that. Well, there you have it. The divisional round prediction show. Hopefully it gets good views. Hopefully people enjoy this. Leave comments, subscribe to the channel, please, as we try to get to 10,000 subscribers. It'd be awesome. We're trying to do that by the end of the Super Bowl, which is probably a lofty goal, but I think it's possible.
Remember to tag us with a picture of you wearing the...
Oh, your I Love Love? Yeah.
I Love Love.
The I Love Love shirts.
Or if you get any of the other shirts.
There are other shirts on the website. I'm going to need to go back and make sure that all of them are... I think we have a tank top on there right now.
Do we?
We have a tank top on there right now.
Yeah, I think it's a PFS tank top.
It is.
In the wintertime? That's incredible.
It felt like 7 degrees here today.
Yeah, I'm not rocking I'm not rocking a PFS tank top right now. It's 20 degrees outside. It is freezing. I think I'm trying to figure out what the title would be for our friend Jacob, who's running the shop, but Jacob, I think he just went rogue on that one. Added in the tank top. So we do appreciate everyone who's been listening. We really do. It means a lot. We see all the comments. We love just going back and forth and just talking football with everyone. So good luck to the teams that are left, you and your fan bases. We'll have a lot more content this week. It's not over yet. And we have that live on Saturday at 1 o'clock where we'll be talking about the Packers game, probably a little bit about the Texans too. Looking forward to that. See you soon.